But now it's my great pleasure to introduce David Starr and Adriana, who's his partner. And it was a really lovely opportunity. How did I get David Starr to come? Well, I went to the Wallaroba Arts and Cultural Centre, which is the Hornsby Council Arts and Cultural Centre on Edgeworth David Road. It's a beautiful venue. It's a Federation house. It's been fully restored. And I went into this lovely space. Often when you're driving up to Hornsby, I've always zoomed by. I didn't know it was there, but there's a little sign saying gallery open. You just turn into that drive when you go up to the beautiful trees. Put your hand up if you've been there. Okay, so quite a few people know it. It's a great cultural centre, and I went in and David had the exhibition Edo in Japan. And I had, I don't want to talk about myself, but I'd been to Japan and it was really very interesting and I talked to David, and David was kind of this artist who I knew was interested in art, not marketing, but very sharing his sense of who he was and how important that is. And he invited us, he had a little shakuhachi concert, which is the Japanese bamboo, and it was only a small group. We were all huddled in the little foyer of the area. And shakuhachi is very meditation, with the bamboo. And we as the audience were just sort of sitting there going into sublime space. But in a way, that's sort of like a metaphor of the ABC, is that it is like we are the audience, and sometimes we can all be connected. And I thought it was really beautiful. And I said, David, would you like to be a guest speaker? And he said, what? But he's here, and now we get to look at his beautiful photographic artwork. So welcome, David.
Hello, my name is David, as you know. Janine, thank you so much. Janine has been so supportive, inclusive of me. Communication's been phenomenal. I didn't know what I was going to be talking about, so when Janine invited me, I'm going, that's lovely, but the bottom line, Janine, was I genuinely love the ABC. So therefore, I'm in. And it began, that's a good thing, isn't it? And it began in childhood. I have the biggest impact the ABC has on my life, I'll share with you at the end of my talk before Q&A. My memories as a child was I love sport and I love the arts. The arts and rugby league and test cricket are a beautiful match made in heaven. So as a child, 3 o'clock Saturday was the rugby league kickoff for the ABC, matched around on the Saturday, and test cricket, Norman May was commenting. He wasn't commenting, but commentating. And of course, there's beautiful moments because we didn't have advertisements. So we'd actually see the lovers of cricket, what happens between overs. And of course, in my adulthood, ABC radio took hold. And the magic halcyon days for me were in the 1990s, I think. And in the morning at 7:45, I'd hear the full fanfare for ABC News. We had AM, then we had Andrew Ollie, I know, and Paul Lynham's, the Andrew Ollie Paul Lynham was just to die for. Tuned in every morning, followed by, of course, Margaret Thorpsby, and followed by, after the news, of course, with John Doyle. So my day was set when I could. I'll just drop that there. So I genuinely do love the ABC. What I don't love is the fact that my notes aren't here, Adriana. This is my beloved Adriana. And the reason why Adriana's sitting here is for precisely this moment. Those who've listened to ABC 7 p.m. radio and the quiz. We know the quiz and that magical word of the brain's trust. Well, Adriana's my brain's trust. And my notes are here or on my chair. I'll use that.
Underneath the thing where I had put my stuff.
Just check the chair.
There.
Oh, there they are. Look at that. Wasn't that a relief? Okay, so Here's the day, it's 20 minutes of me talking. If it's 23, be kind. There's a lot of collective wisdom in this room, much more than me. So be kind, and I'm sure you will. I already genuinely feel really pleased to be here, and there's a warmth. And it's my belief that the ABC is a core of this warmth. The fact that we are like-minded people who have a passion, and the passion is luckily for me shared. And so I'm really genuinely happy to be here. The map of the day is 22 minutes of my talk. If it's possible, if you could hold any questions, if you have any, because I want to move through these images, because I assume one of the reasons you're here is to see my images, and I can talk a little about it. As Janine referenced, what I do in photographic art, what I love to do, is begin with my photographic artwork, the image, the picture, and ideally the viewer then takes that there somewhere. It means something for me, but the most important for me as an artist is the viewer seeing my work, then building a relationship, then imagining a story with the image. Because of time frame, we can't do that in 20 minutes. So I'll be moving relatively swiftly through, and there'll be moments where I'll think, that there's something we can bring up in Q&A. I call it a Dorothy Dixer, so anyone can remember it, you can throw me that question in Q&A. So 20-minute talk, governed almost exclusively by the images. During this, I want you to imagine what does this image mean for me? What's the story? It's only going to be 10 or 15 seconds. But what can drop into you? What could the story be for you in relationship to my artwork? I'll just begin by saying, how did I get to be a photographic artist? I'm going to read, because I don't want to spend too much time on it. I fell in love with the romance of photography with the dark room. I call it the red room, when we're doing the old film days and the chemicals at school. And in HSC, my major work was a series of portraits of a boy from an immigrant family to Australia who are really doing it tough. They had there was a high crisis in their family. My life at this stage, at the age of 17, was, do I become a social worker? Do I move towards the creative expression of my life? Here was a little bit of a dip into both. I took these photos for the first time holding a proper camera, took the photos and I did drawings. From there, I moved to jumping right ahead and forgetting about the in-betweens. I began my first professional job as photographing Olympic swimmers. Great passion for Olympic swimmers. As a child, I lived next door to Shane Gould. I know, in West Pymble. She won 3 gold medals at the Olympics. I'm a little boy with an autograph book saying, Shane, could you please sign me? So that began my passion for Olympic swimming, and I got to photograph Olympic swimmers. Good images, I had a few published. However, there's not a career in photographing Olympic swimmers. I did a little bit of photographic journalism with images, with articles and local papers, once the Sydney Morning Herald, but again, I needed to make a career. Yeah? So I've got the wrong glasses on. I have 4 sets of glasses here, which amuses me. I don't know if it amuses anyone else, but Adriana smiles. So the 2 articles was about Olympic swimmer and also exploring the life of a man called Doug McPhee, who had motor neurone disease. And that was probably my favourite memory of my little dabble into photographic journalism. I was then trying to sell my photos of Olympic swimmers to shops. And one of them was a photographic shop who did weddings. And they said, David, that's nice, but can you please consider maybe photographing a wedding? I said, okay, I like people, so this may work. So 32 years later, and 850 weddings plus later, this formed my career, my profession, paid half the mortgage, etc. So that was 32 years of my life. Can I just share with you why I believe people said I was successful? One was the reason because I mastered and trained in film, not in digital. And the other reason was a combination. I was blessed enough to have these qualities of I knew my tool, the camera. So I needed to know my tool. I intrinsically, luckily, artistic. And I'm creative, so that was helpful as well. I'm a people person, so I like people. Fundamentally like people, and I'm working with people on a wedding. And the last, which I think is the best reason why I did pretty well, is respect. So if someone's getting married, often with religious belief around it, respect is paramount and intrinsic to their day. And the little one-line story is, at the end of the day, I always paid attention and wanted to give some thanks to the grandparents, if living, for thank you for having me, thank you for being here, and I just wanted to come and say goodbye. Almost every wedding, these kind people say, David, you're the best. You're the best wedding photographer I've ever seen. You're amazing, and you can tell everyone that they should be hiring you. I know. So there we go. So the key is, of course, they have not seen one image. So this was very telling for me. This was I wasn't really aware of it, but in terms of retrospective. But this is partly why I did well. And it's not hard. It's not that hard. So then I shifted to being, it's hilarious, to becoming, I did 2 diplomas in art therapy and counselling in 2007. But photographic art became my passion from 212 onwards. Set up studios, etc., etc. So let's go straight into the work. This is an image which is up for raffle. This is called Sanctus. It's from an exhibition. I should flag that I've had 16 solo exhibitions, which I feel very fortunate. This one was set in Trastevere in Rome. Has anyone been to this part of, maybe to Rome? Trastevere? Yeah, 1 or 2. So this is the raffle prize, and I've donated this for the cause. Janine, correct? So this has been in one of my exhibitions. It's actually sold before, and this is available. We'll come back to that in a moment. Well, it's not available, it's yours for the lucky winner. Thank you, Peter. The next slide. Oh, this is me. So I forgot to show that, which is hilarious. So that's about me. So that's just me. The hilarious, my father, dear father, who's 97, said, David, he's done a lot of public speaking. He said, David, always start with something light-hearted and a joke. Well, for me, this is hilarious because this looks nothing like me. So when we go to the SSO and see who's the soloist or the opera, who's the soprano or the tenor, and I've seen the program, and they come on stage and go, really? So here's the really moment. So now I can ring Dad and say, Dad, I gave a little bit of a comic relief. Now, next slide. Thanks, Peter. Let's hope it's not me. So here's a wedding. And the next shot, Peter. The wedding. There's something about that links these two, which is a lovely dovetail into me as a photographic artist. And back one, Peter, please. And back to the other. Coming forward now. Thanks, Peter. We're just coming forward now. Yeah, that's it. Can anyone pick this up? And it relates to me as a photographic artist wanting the viewer to take on the story. Yes. Light. Certainly with light, absolutely. Is there anything else? Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. So there's an element of mystique. So the viewer, when people come to be interviewed with me, 3,000 interviews I had of couples, they could enter into this couple's shoes, so to speak. And if you go back one again, Peter, please. Again, they're not seeing the faces. So my clients, potential clients, can step into this world. And this moves into, in my belief, one of the strengths of, by the way, can everyone hear me? Peter, can you hear me? Yeah? Too loud. I'll come back a bit. I'm not used to the microphone. You need to be louder. Thank you. Can you just let me know, because I'm not used to microphones. Is that okay? Just pop your hand up, because thank you if you can't hear. You haven't missed much so far. The good stuff's coming. So, off we go, Peter, to the next slide, please. Okay. For me, photographic art is about these 3 things of impact, emotion, and story. These are 3 elements which I embrace when it comes to photographic art. Today we'll be focusing a little bit more on story. Okay. Thanks, Peter. Ah, I'm here. Thank you. Adriana is my brains trust. There's the microphone. My brains trust. Isn't that brilliant? I neglected to start the, please bear with me, stopwatch. Okay. Isn't it lovely to have a brains trust? Don't do that, David. Okay, so this is an example. This is photographed in Paris. It's from a particular exhibition. This is an example of emotion evoked. And again, what it is for me, hopefully, is different for you. Yeah. This is photographed in a place called Montmartre, to the north of Paris. It was an insane scene of invite-only. It was very chic. There was people dressed in Gothic dandies. Men were dressed as dandies, not necessarily gay, but some gay, but dressed as dandies and burlesque. And it was ticketed only. And then this man entered the room, and there was a flock of journalists, photographers, press. I didn't have any idea who he was, because I'm just this not very humble, a little bit. I was this young guy, Australian, young buck, and here he is, and everyone's standing back. And I didn't want to approach him. I thought, well, bugger it, I'm just going to go up and ask. I said, hi, my name's David, I'm from Australia, could I please take your photos? And I said, I need about 10 minutes. He said, yes. And the poor media crew behind me weren't too happy. So I had this beautiful exchange with this man. Photographically, it is light, it's indoor light, and no flash. Next, thanks, Peter. Sorry? Well, I don't know who he was. I know. So the next slide is an example of impact, and I can, if you're wondering where my eyes are going, so I can see the images up here. My first trip overseas ever, I was aged 47. I used to have people all the time saying, oh, David, you've got to travel. You've got to travel. Of course you've got to travel. You haven't experienced life if you haven't travelled. Well, my response was, and is, well, no. I don't have to travel. I don't have to travel to have a fulfilling life. I still hold that. However, I did begin travelling at 46 with the sheer intention to create an art exhibition. This was my first day in Paris. I was super excited. I didn't sleep for 52 hours, so I hit the road running and went to the place called Notre Dame and got totally lost when I come back out. But inside, the challenge was, how do I create something unique? How do I create something original? So I worked a little hard. Those who've been in Notre Dame or any Gothic church is very dark. So what am I going to do with this? So this actually, the cross and the Madonna sitting in front, is very small. And if you entered the church cathedral, you'd never notice. So here I found my image, right behind, silhouetted by the light coming through in the hand, and the cross being lit, backlit, and there was my image. That's all I want to say. Peter, next slide, thank you. So this exhibition was called La Vie de Paris, and these two came from, and Peter? This, in terms of, I would call a lot of this Paris work street photography, candid work. That means people aren't aware that I'm photographing. Things have changed now, that might come up in Q&A. There's a story. I've got no idea what's happening, but there's a story. Thanks, mate. Here's another story in Paris. I was beautifully overwhelmed by the hustle and bustle and the life of Paris. From 90-year-olds to 9-year-olds. From young lovers, as we see here, and all that's within this composition, so much is happening. There's only one actual point of focus in terms of sharpness of focus, and it's the man at the back. But again, there's a story. And the story lies with you. It doesn't lie with me. This is 1 a.m. in Le Marais in Paris, near Les Halles, in the centre of Paris. 1 a.m. It's been raining, which is, for me, just brilliant. Allows me to get down low, sometimes on my tummy, and creates an extra atmosphere. This is called Midnight in Paris. It is here. I won't hold it up, but it is here if you wish to see it. I'll hold one up later on. Story. What is the story behind this? Who could this man be? Where's he going? Where has he come from? What's happening in and around him? 5 minutes to go. We better roll on then, Peter. Suchai, Spirit of the Sea. This is where Adrian and I live each year. A place called Suchai. It's in Dalmatia, and we live there for 3 or 4 months a year. And in winter, it's a village of 150 people. We go there in summer. We hang out with cousins. And this was an exhibition. Thank you, Peter. This is the place. This is the peninsula. The Adriatic wraps around this peninsula, and mainland of Europe, of Croatia and Bosnia, is behind. Thank you, Peter. Now here's a story. Silhouetted. I love silhouettes. But who is this person? No, it's not. So just leave that hanging as a rhetorical question. So my aim is for the viewer to just absorb that, and then in their mind and their own experience of life, perhaps, they may bring something to this artwork. And the next slide, Peter. This is beautiful Maya. This is Zornomir. There's a little harbour in Suchai. Again, story. Simple. I love silhouettes. Just come back to Zornomir. Thanks, Peter. Zorn is our cousin, and he's just turned 19, and he is 209 centimetres tall. So he's near 7 foot. In Dalmatia, they're very tall. This little boy. Thank you, Peter. Leven van Holland. Adrian and I explored Holland, mainly Amsterdam and Amsterdam and Utrecht. And thanks, Peter. Here's a pretty good example, I hope it is, of using a combination between street photography and photojournalism. Here's a story. It's not for me to tell you what the story is. It's far more interesting if this story comes from you, because it's far more relevant to your life experience and to your felt sense, whatever emotional response, if any, you have. Thanks, Peter. That was Amsterdam, and this is Amsterdam again. Story. Yeah. For me, I'll probably name this a little bit. This is a homeless man. And the world is going on around him, and he's not seen. And behind is, what's that famous brand? There's a famous luxurious brand, Schwarzer, I don't know what's it called, it's Swedish. And that's the backdrop. So there's I'll just let that be. And all the story that's going on, happening around. And what's with the man following this man? Is he aware that he's following this man? Or is there some other intent? And who are you in this picture? Are you this person who's following? Or are you this person central, this image, or perhaps in the peripheral? Perhaps you own the cycle behind. Thanks, man. Now this is an example of one of my Australian exhibitions. Before I forget, what's relevant to this very much is when Janine asked me to relate being a photographic artist and the ABC, and why the ABC needs more funding. Cemetery of Trees is a really good example. Can someone just prompt me for a question in Q&A? We'll just look at these images. Thank you, Peter. This is from a ravaged Kosciuszko National Park from the 2004 fires. It's a long time ago. And left this stark landscape, and Adriana and I were driving down, and Adriana said, "Oh my goodness, it's like a cemetery of trees." And thus, straight away, the seed was sown. I thought, there's an exhibition. So over 3 years, I can't tell you how many days of photographing, 14 days maybe, this exhibition came to be. Here, the temperature of the whole exhibition was cool. And there's a starkness, or maybe something else. Thanks, Peter. With some of these images in the exhibition, I want to get a sense for the individual to imagine what other than this being an artwork, what other than this being a photo. Could it actually be something else? Does it remind me of something else? Now, what I would love to do as an art therapist is stop and spend 15 minutes on that, and we could, but we can't. For me, there was two people here, and they're interacting. It's really strong, it's like a dance. But that's just for me. Thanks, Peter. For me, this is all about emotion and emotional response for the individual viewer, and the temperature of the work. Thanks, Peter. Just trying to think of the title of this. The Dead Are Dancing. So these trees, unlike many classic Australian gum trees, it's an amazing ability to revitalise. These are history. And for me, the composition was all about creating something where it felt to me there was a dance. There was this movement, it was like a group of people dancing, hence The Dead Are Dancing was the title. Thanks, Peter. Silencio. This is back in Trastevere, where the work which is being raffled. Thanks, Peter. Can I just say the difference with this work, Adriana was with me, we're racing, probably going to leave in 5 hours to get a plane, and we walked into this amazing place. It's all on my website if you are interested in looking at it. And there was this man, and I said to Adriana, this man's not here, oh my goodness, there's a lot of history. I think it's 11th century building. I saw a man, I said, Adriana, I must photograph here. There's a whole exhibition here. The whole thing was completed in 2 hours. Cemetery of Trees, over 3 years, I don't know how many days. Yeah? For me, I won't say anything. So I invite the viewer to enter into this image and then what it means for them. And it may be nothing, of course. It may be nothing. Thank you, next Peter. Here's the man. So when I saw this man, I fell instantly in love with him. He's just so compelling. And I had to photograph him. And luckily he agreed. There's so much story in this face. My experience, ladies and gentlemen, is the older the person is, the more story there is. And it doesn't surprise me. It probably doesn't surprise us. Thank you, Peter. Here is directed. So all these images now with this man are directed. He had a dog, he had a crutch. How can I compose an image which is going to be an artwork? And again, storytelling. What this means for you, how you relate to it in your own life. Thanks, Peter. Again, fully directed. It needed to be, to have the impact I wanted to as an artist. What an amazing man. What an amazing setting, 11th century setting. Thanks, Peter. This is our work. This is called Sanctus, which means holy. This is the work which is available. Just excuse me. this is the work which is not available. Some lucky person will be winning this today. Sanctus means holy. Going okay. 25 minutes. Okay. So, we got 5 more? Yeah. Can I just tell you a story? There's a 90-year-old man who saw this at an artist talk. We'll be going for 5 more minutes. And John was his name. He was 91 maybe. And he was, for all my works, this was the one which resonated with him. And it had so much meaning for him. For him, this next slide. So I can't talk about it. So solo aroma. The reason I can't talk about it is such a beautiful, profound sharing from John. It's probably not appropriate to share anyway. Solo aroma. I spent time in a monastery in Rome, and all of a sudden I walked these streets for a long time. We got up at 5 a.m. I was invited to stay in a Benedictine monastery. I had my own quarters. I shared a silent meal with the priests and the monks during the day. I had no intention, so most of my work begins with a blank canvas. It's just the best way to go. So I would walk and walk and walk. Fascinatingly, when all the images came back, I began to formulate the exhibition. All the images were of either nobody or someone on their own. But it wasn't my intention. So I'm imagining the life that I was living was beginning to emanate. It's fascinating. I chose this one. This is a 3-shot, 20-second work, and it's large. Just request, I have my coffee here, can you stand over here? No direction, sit there, maybe look this way, that way, job complete. The person, I showed you this one, which isn't the completed one. See the man behind on your left? Here's a really good example why editing can be valuable. So I didn't want him part of it. So I had to graciously remove him. I'm sure in Q&A questions around this will come up. Thank you, Peter. This is a lead image of Solo Aroma. That's also here. And I'll just let it speak for itself. It's very hard to just see things on a projection. In a gallery wall, many are here. But it's stillness. There's a 2-hour photograph to capture. I waited and waited and waited and waited. And waited for someone to come and sit and have a coffee. I had in my head, there's going to have 2 people, it's going to be magic. You're going to have, like in Paris, there's 2 men. You're going to have 2 people having coffee. But I'm premeditating it. What was much better is just to stay with. I knew what I needed to do, and that's be patient and just wait. But nothing came. But it actually was brilliant. I love this one. Now this is Solo Aroma. This is in Florence. This is titled Firenze. This artwork is here. This took a lot of patience. I'm sure many have been to Florence, maybe not. I saw this woman and I knew I had to photograph her. How could I not want to photograph her? She's so elegantly dressed. Her colour combinations is so refined, and the backdrop, her colours are matching the backdrop. Yeah. So my trick of my game here is to be patient, to wait till she was alone, someone wasn't sitting right directly next to her. Very important. The other thing, peoples, in all my work, it sounds like I'm a little bit full of myself, but I have to talk about myself, so that's just how it is, Janine. So, the strength for me, I got a lot of weaknesses in life, but the strength for me and the gift I have is in the scene. So every new potential artwork really does begin in the scene. And all of you who photograph on iPhones or with cameras, it all starts with a scene. It all starts with a scene. And I saw her, and I saw the potential of this work. And the next frame, not quite yet, Peter, you'll see, well, that's all right. Here's the scene. So there's people sitting directly right next to this lady, people walking to and fro. This is the moment, there's the least amount of people, because Florence is manic. So I thought, okay, there's enough space I can lose that black shoe down the bottom. And of course, she moved not long after. But that was an hour and a half of patience, yeah. I know. And here's the other key question in this sort of field is, do I approach her or do I not approach her? In this case, I couldn't approach her because it would have ruined the image completely. So my question is, do I then follow up and say, I have this image, is it okay? But on other occasions, like this occasion, I thought, no, my intention is good. It's pure intention. My purpose is for an exhibition. I think she's okay with this. I'm not using it any publicity in terms of social media. So that's the scene. Thank you, Peter. Impact, emotion, story again, flowing through. Impact is, hopefully, is the image. It's just here. It's not the black on either side. So there's sort of an abstract thing happening here, and it's a staircase. Can anyone see any human life in this image? Yes, the hand. So all of a sudden this switches into another, and something other. And all of a sudden now there's this hand. I didn't set this up. This is the hand, and it's a stairwell, and it's in Vienna. And it's a stairwell to a psychiatrist's clinic room. And we all know there's a great psychiatrist from Vienna, Sigmund Freud. So I titled this Psycho. Image, emotion, and story. Thanks, Peter. And we're nearly at the end. This is photographed in Prague, in Czech Republic. This took hours and hours and several days to keep coming back to it with Adriana. I saw an image so I could see something, but it just wasn't happening. It needed to be just so, and it needed to be only have one person. I try really hard to photograph like a film photographer, so I'm composing through the lens, not post-production editing digitally. So I just had to wait and wait and wait, and then she came. But there's a lot of story here. There's a lot of story. In art therapy terms, if we were a group, we could spend an hour and a half on this, what it means to different people, and the layers. Or nothing, of course. Thank you, Peter. Last three shots is when I met Janine. Now this now isn't storytelling. It can be storytelling in abstract ways. This is my Edo Japan, my recent exhibition. And here's just three, just to share it with you. This in a Japanese font isn't the right word, you can help me here. Characters means, Adriana, what does it mean? Wisdom of home.
Oh yes, the eternal
life.
Home of eternal
Home, thank you, brain's trust. Home of eternal life. Beautiful. The next, Peter. Again, in these works, I'm trying to get a sense of a painting. So it's not so much story, it's a different approach. The last image here. Again, this is from an Edo period house from the Edo village period in the 17th century. Okay, so to conclude my slideshow, and this is going to be one more minute, and when Janine asked me in and around what does the ABC mean for me, and I went around to think, okay, so I've mentioned a few things. However, all throughout life, in my childhood, my adulthood, there's been challenges. I cannot imagine there's anyone in this group who hasn't had challenges through their life. Sufferings. Yeah? From childhood for me and as an adult. For me, the gift of the ABC has been a medicine. And the best medicine, which is for free, and I can do it on my own, but sometimes I need a prompting, and it's the ABC. Next slide, Peter. No. Next 4 slides. Next slide. ABC in my life. I should go off the script. Next one. Auntie Jack. I know. Farewell, Auntie Jack. I know. I was singing it in my mind last night. A great piece of Australian comedy. Where ABC. Next slide, Peter. Norman Guster.
What an insane character Norman Gunston was. Those interviews, oh my goodness. I know, we haven't got an image of the tissues with the shaving gone wrong there, but that's okay. I love the top part. Thank you, Peter. The goodies, big part of my childhood. Big part of my childhood, laughter after school. Had troubles at school, laughter, goodies. Can't go wrong. Peter. Who knows this one? Kenny Everett. A little bit random. He was very random. Not a big name but he was there on the ABC in the afternoons. Wacky guy, wacky show. Thank you, Peter. Are you being served? Classic British humour. My mother loved Are You Being Served? Thank you, Peter. Oh, who's this? Frank? It's Frank Spencer. Some mothers do have them. Again, laughter. And I'm not just trying to fill a hole here to say, what's the link with ABC? These were big parts of my life. This is medicine for me. Joyful, happiness. Next, please. Yes, Minister. I wonder, I didn't know there were so many ABC comedies flooded in my life. Thank you, Peter. Monty Python, Flying Circus. Where did I see it? Channel 10? No. Thank you, Peter. Classic. 12 episodes. 12 episodes only. And how many have seen one episode more than once? I know, because it's timeless. Absolutely timeless. Next one, Peter, please. Who can tell who this is? Dave Allen, the Irishman, sitting on the stool, having a whiskey and a cigarette. Unbelievable comedy. My mother loved David Allen. Told stories. Next, Peter. Not the 9 o'clock news. Not the 9 o'clock news. There's some very famous faces there. I know, Rowan Atkinson, Pamela Stevenson, that's right. Peter. The Young Ones. I remember The Young Ones as a 21-year-old, and Tuesday night at 9:30, because it was a nighttime show. Anyone who watched The Young Ones? Yeah. Out there comedy, British comedy, ABC, British comedy is linked for me. Thank you, Peter. Oh. What brilliant writing. What phenomenal writing. Just absolute classic and so real and true. Thank you, Peter. AbFab, if you're into AbFab. Next one, Peter. Last one from Jones, a little private love I have. English. Mr. Bean. A great universal comedy because no words are spoken. Thank you, Peter. Blackadder. When we left at random. Those cod pieces are just hysterical. Thank you, Peter. Vicar of Dibley. Hilarious. And another Peter towards the end, Kath and Kim. If you ever have someone over from overseas, you probably have already, and you want an introduction to Australia, whack them down. Glass of Barossa Valley, Shiraz, Kath and Kim. It's a rude shock to the system. Thank you, Peter. Now, what is this? QI. Phenomenal. And lastly, hard quiz. Now, you know, it's something about hard quiz and Tom. My mother, in her full dementia, which was about 85, loved this man, Tom. I don't know why. This was her favourite show. And it was great. Why not? Tom, thumbs up. Last one, Peter. Would I lie to you? Adrian and I know. We say we're doing all our life in the evening, we're going to end our evening with a half-hour funny. It's either would I lie to you or... What's the next one, Peter? Oh, it could be Rosehaven. I'll speak in a big voice. Brilliant Australian modern humour, Rosehaven. And the next, Fisk. I know, they just keep coming. ABC comedies. Had you ever imagined there was this many? I hadn't until I sat down and thought about it. Next one, is there another one? Not Going Out. Anybody watch this? I recommend. I think that's the end of the slideshow.
artstar.com.au. I invite you to all, invite to that Q&A time. Thank you for listening. Thank you.